Hello, in this video I would like to talk about emotional vampires, and in my experience I've learned that they are wounded people in some way, and that they aren't always aware of what they are doing. Therefore, if you pick them up on their behaviour, depending on the type of emotional vampire that they actually are, that they can easily get offended, and usually that's the last thing that you want to do. But I'm told recently from YouTube clips that it's okay to offend and let people know when they are out of line. But at the same time, I think it's important to be kind with your words, and especially when you're talking to the poor me. And this is usually the sort of person who feels comfortable coming to you and talking about their problems. I mean, it's not always good for you. Sometimes you want a bit of space. But at the same time, if you find it too much, tell them. Just say, we have talked about this a couple of times already. Can we talk about something else? Usually, if you keep doing that, they will get the message and they won't come and talk to you at all. But if this is someone who you care about, then you are going to have conversations with them every once in a more than once in a while, because as people we like to shout, we like to and we like to hear the sound of our own voice, like saying, oh, and Roger's annoyed me, and I'm just trying to think of a name here. Racy, oh, she's horrible to me, People need a way to vent and let off steam, and if you're not going to listen to them, that's just going to cause more anger and more resentment. And when they are going to meet these people, sometimes they have explosive reactions, these poor me people, because they are wounded in some way, and not all of them realise how they are coming across. You can say, we have talked about this, I don't mind talking about it with you, but can we also talk about other things as well, please? And then that person will be like, oh, am I talking about myself a bit too much? And be like, well, yeah. And then maybe depending on the person, you can have a laugh and a joke with them. But at times, you are going to have to listen to them. If this is a person you care about, you're not going to say, oh, well, I'm not interested. And, we are all wired for connection. We all need each other. And people who think that they don't need no one and they can take care of themselves, usually they are the most vulnerable, because people think, oh, well, you can take care of yourself, but I think I need a bit of help. It's hard to ask for help, but if you know you need it, you ask. I know that my mom is the controller. This is the other emotional vampire as well, and she likes to tell me how to dress, how to look, how to act, how to, what I ought to do, what I should not do. It kills me because at times I know what I'm doing, but she likes to tell me things anyway, and I have had bad experiences with her because we are two different personalities, and at times she doesn't understand me and I don't understand her, and we just clash. And then I go away thinking that she doesn't understand me, she hasn't got a clue what it's like to be me, but then I don't know what it's like to actually be her. And I think one day I spent the whole day with her. She did have nothing to eat, which meant I had nothing to eat, and I actually felt sick, thinking, well, I need to eat. She rushes from one place to the other, and she does a lot of work on hardly any food at all, which is bad, which is really bad actually. But that is her life, that is what she does. So, and I can't keep up with it. I mean, like, my mom will say, you've got to be doing this, Katie, you've got to do that. Once you've done that, you could do this. And then whilst you're doing such and such, you can do this. It's as simple as that. And I'm thinking, hang on a second, you're not helping, you're dictating. I mean, this here is my own house. So I've moved out of home, I've flown the nest. Yeah, she likes to help, and in her head she believes everything she does is a help, which, it's a nice way to be and a nice way to think. But I've learnt something off Julie Hanks because I've been watching her, and you'll say thank you. No, it's confidently assert yourself. Thank you for your suggestion, I'll consider it, and then do what I want to do. And I have found out that in my experience, trying to tell a controller what to do, it does backfire, so I will agree to that. But yeah, me and Mom, two different personalities. Me and my sister, two different personalities. I think, coming from someone who is labelled under the poor me, which I do find it a little bit offensive, is that, well, actually, may I just say, I like connecting with people. I like that connection when someone shares something that's a bit difficult to you. If someone's able to do that with me, I'm there at that moment in time, and I would listen. If that's what they need me to do, I will listen. And if they would like any help or would like any advice, I'd rather they actually asked, because it's easy to jump in and say, oh, I know what you should but maybe that's not how they really want to handle it. So you've got to, I think at the same time, as much as you care and you would like to be involved, you know it's their life. They are ultimately the ones who are going to get a divorce or something along those lines. And in order to help them, in order to support them, you have to detach your feelings of it and not be totally in the middle, in the way, and and just be there for when they need you. And at the same time, if you can think of someone who you come to with a thought or your problems, think about what happened the last time I came over. Did we go out for a night out and have a good time? Or did we talk about me? You have to think of what happened the last time. And if you always talk about yourself all the time, you notice a pattern forming in your head. And as nice as people are, they don't always want to know your problems all the time. So just go over there, because for all you know, they could be having a really bad day. And if you go over there and share your problems, they're not always going to want to know. Go over there, talk to them, make them laugh, do something like that. And then later on down the road, you can talk about what's upsetting you. Do it that way, because most people aren't aware that they are coming across that way. And unless they are picked upon it, they are always going to do it. Or if you think you can help them, just say, yeah, that sounds really hard, really difficult. Can I offer you any suggestions? And then that person will be like, oh, well, what advice have you actually got? And then, they may apply it to their situation, and then if they can come to you afterwards and say, I listened to your advice and I did that, and and then you have something else to talk about. Because I know years ago I had this friend of mine who was lovely. She was so lovely to all her friends. But I think sometimes she turned around to me and she's saying, I'm not being nasty, am I? But I don't want to be an agony aunt all the time. Because I think people look to her as a problem solver or a way to vent and get off their feelings. So it was hard for her. So if I think about what it was like for her, think about what other people could be feeling each time you talk about your issues that you have going on. Because we all have issues, it's just how we deal and cope with them that are different. And some of us might find them offensive and we don't understand, or we may have done something a bit differently compared to another person. So, it's the whole different personalities again. But I would recommend, if you fall under the category of the poor me, ask for advice. Even come to them with a bit of a problem that you're having and say, have you got any advice at all? If they have any, they might give it to you. But if not, try and find a different person who might be able to help. Or even think about it. Think about who might be able to relate more. But also be careful what it is that you're actually going to talk about, because usually if you're talking about something that's wounded you, if it has wounded that same person, sometimes they're not going to want to talk about it, and they will find you talking about it a bit too much. I would say test the waters, because usually when you are with people, you know if they are going to talk or not. And if they are feeling uncomfortable, change this situation around and talk about something different.